ridiculous thing ever.
Half the people in the room don't know who that is, right?
So, most ridiculous thing ever.
First thing, CD's good, right? Everything tested out pretty good. Nothing serious, nothing threatening. She's she's alert, she's awake, she's going to be going home soon, so she's good. Not a doctor, but just repeating what they said. Yeah.
I mean, she coached 1,300 games, and this had to be one of the more unusual pregame speeches you ever said. What did you say to them, and how proud of you are you of the way they responded?
They were pretty, something about NC State, right? Dorka went down last year, right? And they all the guys ran over, and then they see the bones sticking out, and they all lose their mind, right? And now I got to go back and calm that down. And now, this time, that's not what you normally see during right after the national anthem. So they were pretty taken back by it, as you can imagine. And I didn't know what to expect going out there. I mean, I was kind of prepared for anything. And there really wasn't much that you could say other than she's fine. I think if she left here under other circumstances, it might have been even more difficult to go out there. But I thought she, because she left awake and alert and fine, I think that made them feel a little better, obviously. And then the way we started, I think, set the tone for pretty much the rest of the game.
Geno, what were your, she's been by your side for all these years, she's been such an important part of this, and to see her, on the floor that way, what went through your mind, what were your emotions, and before you kind of got your team right, you kind of had to get right yourself, right?
Yeah, it was, she wasn't feeling that great before the game. She said she felt something wasn't right. So when we went out there, I kind of put it in the back of my mind. But when, when we had a hard time getting her to walk off the court, that's when I became more concerned than anything. And then obviously when she's on the floor, it's, everything runs through your mind, right? Every possible scenario, everything you can imagine. I'm just glad we have really, really good people here. So they were on the right way, and I know it shook up a lot of people in our program. Everybody that was here that's been associated with our program as a former player, coaches, and I'm a pretty optimistic guy, and so when they said, that she looked fine, felt fine, I was able to just kind of put it away for a little bit, just long enough to talk to our team. But it was there. I mean, it was constantly there. Then to add insult to injury, Paige comes and takes her seat. So as if I wasn't having a bad day already.
Geno, go ahead for you, Dave.
She was probably most shook up about it than anybody. Those two fight like cats and dogs every single day. So she was most shook up about it. But she's the most emotional kid too.
What do you think about the way she finished with, I think, set a record for 15 assists?
She did.
She did a lot of great things for you guys out there.
She did. There's something about that kid, right? It's just, and infectious. You know, everything that she does it with her heart, and you know, doesn't ever back down to anybody. Doesn't know any other way than the way she plays right now, and there's so much asked of her right now. There's so much pressure on Nika right now to be perfect every night, almost, to handle the ball, to play the other team's best player most of the time, best guard, to make sure she gets us in what we need to do, make sure our transition game's going, make sure that the right people get the ball at the right time, and stay out of foul trouble, which goes against everything she believes in, you know. So in spite of all that, she's able to do what she did today, and I just thought it was an unbelievable performance, just unbelievable. And I don't think it was loud either. I don't think it was like a loud performance. I think it was just really subtle in that, you know, she's matured so much as a guard that she's constantly got her head up and her eyes down the floor. So every time there's somebody, she has a knack. Where's AZ? Where's Lou? You know, and she finds them. And today the pass is up the floor to, you know, Aubrey, Aaliyah. She just has a way. I mean, you can't predict this, right? You can't predict these kind of games, this kind of sport. When Paige and Ice and Dorka walked in the locker room. I said to the coach, I said, I bet you that's minimum. I bet you that's 40 points and 20 rebounds minimum. They just walked through the door that isn't playing tonight. You know, it's the only place in America where it's like, yeah, but that's not a problem. You guys are going to win by a lot. And I told the players, I said, it's the only place in America where people actually talk like that. And I think they take that to heart. I asked Dorka what was special about today. She said, Coach, we just play with a lot of heart. And that probably sums it up better than anything else.
Aubrey came in, started for Dorka today. What
Yeah.
did you think about her performance? She kind of set the tone for you guys early.
Man, she's like a one person whirlwind out there, right? I mean, it's, you know, in a 5-minute stretch, like the game's going haywire. And it's funny, I even asked her about, she had a great shoot around this morning. I mean, she was all over the place. You know, you can just see in, you know, her intensity level was at another level this morning. And I really, you know, I challenged her to be disruptive and be crazy, play crazy, you know, play relentlessly, play carefree, just play, be a factor, you know, steal the ball on defense, block shots on defense, run the floor, offensive rebound, you know, just every possession, find a way to impact that possession. I mean, that's, you know, you chalk up that fast start to one person, you know. There had to be a late discussion with about 4 minutes left in the game where Aubrey, where she was scoring at will, right? Anytime she wanted, every which way. I think she felt bad for them because she was letting her guys score every time down the floor too. So I think we have to coach that a little bit this week.
Alexa, you know, playing 2 top 10 teams back-to-back so early this season, you figured this would be a good litmus test for your group. So have they surprised you in any ways, especially considering the adversity?
Oh, for sure, for sure. You know, I still don't know, you know, how good are we? I think I have a pretty good idea how hard we're going to play and, you know, what we're going to bring every night. But at halftime, we were coming out of halftime you know, Jamel said, we need to find another scorer. I mean, Aubrey and Leah got some, and AZ scored most of our points again. We need to find another scorer on the perimeter. We can't keep this up the whole second half. Somebody's got to emerge, and Lou did, you know. So I don't know how good we are yet. I don't know, you know, because I've seen us, you know, be both ways, struggle and be great. But if we're gonna compete like that, like we did these 2 games, if we're gonna play with that kind of energy and that kind of, you know, purpose, then I think that was a great test for us, that these 2 games kind of showed us what we can be, you know. And when we start going on all cylinders, what we, you know, there may be something else there. I don't know what that is, but when you have games like this, I always like to say, okay, well now that's the baseline. This is where we started. So now it can't ever be lower than that. It's only going up from there. Whatever that is, I don't know.
Did you or Jamel talk with Lou?
Huh?
Did you or Jamel talk with Lou when you had that conversation about
No.
someone else, or did you?
No. We said, you know, I'm not going to not play her. I'm not going to not give her the opportunity, and then, you know, she's too good a player to like not do anything for 40 minutes. But you know, Jamel's really good about all that, you know, just kind of getting guys going. So I think she got Lou going a little bit, and Mo too. Both of those guys were great.
Megan and then Carl.
AZ had 32 again, but it felt like maybe a little bit more of a complete game than on Monday. You talked about how she played there.
Yeah, I was disappointed that we couldn't get her another 25 in the second half, because Monday night it was all in the second half. Today, that first half was pretty amazing, right? And I said, I don't know that we should be able to count on AZ to get 32 every night. Some other people better step up. Well, that's 2 games in a row now, so I don't know. But you can't play better than she played today. She's so efficient in what she does. No wasted motions. And she missed like a layup, she missed a couple. Like there's a whole nother whatever that she hasn't gotten to yet, which is scary. But she's pretty special. There aren't too many players. I don't care what league, high school, college, pro, I don't care, that can take the ball and do what she does with it so fast. So fast.
Geno, without Dora a lot of pressure on Leah today, she scored, rebound,
Yep.
stayed on the floor.
Yep.
How about her performance tonight?
It might be fair or unfair to say, but I said our post players are going to decide the fate of our season, because right now we're not whole yet. You know, we don't have everybody there, and I know what's going to happen. I know how people are going to struggle shooting the ball, because they always do. At some point, the ball's not going to go in the basket as much. And you saw that with Lou in the first half. So we're going to go as far as our post players take us. So they're going to have to be great every night. Now you take Dork out, and Leah had to be great tonight. That's it. You can't be good, because good won't make it anymore. You know, so between her, you know, her offensively, defensively, running the floor, I mean, all that stuff, you know, she played like, when she was a freshman, she played like an All-American type player, like an All-American type performance.
Geno, you mentioned you guys beat the 2 top 10s here. Across the country, there's been top 10s left and right. And it's not just losing to other ranked teams, they're losing to unranked teams. Is that a sign of parity, just teams trying to find themselves in November? It's just rare this happens this many games so soon in the season.
I think it's a combination of things, and this has been happening now for a couple of years. I think there's fewer great teams, and a lot more good teams. So whenever you start to have that, the next thing that happens is those good teams start beating other good teams. So if you're a top 10 team, but you have flaws, they're gonna show. They're gonna show. And this portal crap, this is gonna happen more often. Because that portal, guys in and out, but that doesn't affect, assume the Marquette, Gonzaga, that much. They get their guys and they keep their guys, pretty much. Those, the teams in the top 10, top 15, whatever, top 20, they have guys left and right. They recruit guys, this guy was supposed to be this guy's all this, all that. They get there, they don't play. They're off and running. Now you're putting together a new team, it seems like every year. And then all of a sudden you play against a team that has 3 or 4 guys that have been together 3 or 4 years. This is gonna keep happening. It's a great sign for women's basketball, I think. That now you can't just walk into the gym and, roll it out there and go, yeah, well, we're top 10 team in the country and we can just roll over them just because you're unranked. I think those days are over. I don't think anybody's good enough to do that. And those other teams are just too good right now. They're so much better. Better coached, better sense of purpose, the way those kids play. I love it. I think it's going to be great. I think if this keeps up, that's the kind of thing that's made March Madness the madness that it is on the men's side, right? And we need some of that madness on the women's side. More of it. We've already had some. We need more of it. We need more of it. Oh, by the way, speaking of March Madness, I told Wes that our game against them next year is at Mohegan. He wasn't too thrilled about it. We just had a laugh before the game. I said you tried Bridgeport, you tried the XL, we're going to Mohegan. Then the following year we're playing again.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about NC State. Obviously they're a little bit of transition last year, personnel-wise.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on NC State, that team you just saw, and what Wes Moore is?
Well, what he has built, is a team that every year you can say, well, they're going to finish 1, 2, 3 in the ACC, which is not easy to do, right? So that's one thing. And he's done it with what we were talking about, with a bunch of kids that he gets and he keeps them for the most part, right, together. This team just lacks the experience of last year's team. Last year's team was unbelievably experienced, right? They had 3 kind of grad level kids, right? So anytime you're going through that, it's going to take you a while to find it. But in terms of talent-based and the way they play and the way he coaches and the shots that they get, very similar to last year's team. Just don't have the experience of last year's team.
Anything else, Coach?
What are you looking most forward to this week going forward again?
I got a new rain hat. I'm looking forward to wearing it. When you go to these events, it's really a showcase for the sport itself. It's a lot of really good teams that get together and play really good games. And you're honoring a great man, who's done a lot for the game of basketball. The fact that they've, put the men's and women's tournament and combined them in the same place, I think is going to just bring an awful lot of attention. That's going to be the center of the universe pretty much for 3 or 4 days. And I think it's a great opportunity for teams and kids to not only play against that kind of competition, but to really appreciate what all this means and what Nike's meant to basketball.
We're gonna finish up tomorrow.
You mentioned that the biggest thing for Aubrey this year was her confidence. What do you think a game like today does for that? Well,
I hope it reminds her of what's possible for her. It's a process, and if somebody was watching today's game and you had said, You know, that's that kid's third game back. She hasn't played in a year and change. You would say that's pretty amazing. So she's trying to remember, I think, body-wise, mentally, what it was like when she was playing really, really well. That NCAA tournament in the bubble, she was really, really, really good. And then it ended. So getting back to that's going to take a little bit of time, but I hope today was a reminder of all the things she can be. I mean, we don't have anybody like her. They didn't either, so it's pretty special.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll have players in a minute.
Thanks, guys.